Today, Sasha and I are working at our friend's place. Lauren and Kevin are the owners of Black Pearl Creamery. I'll put a link in the description. They have a really wonderful operation with sheep on pasture, really ethical, caring folks. And they and their two children have this nice simple home that they built and recently put on this deck on the eastern side. And last year we came through and we established a really nice, deep barter with them by working with a group of their friends and them to install the beginning of a food forest. So this is to the north side of their home. There's rows of Nanking cherry and then hazelnuts and nitrogen fixers and chestnuts and bur oaks on the northern end with honey locust in between. We put in 90 trees. They're all still very young, and that was in exchange for milk and yogurt and beautiful meat from them. So it was really satisfying and very fun to do. And this year we're following up with, now that the building is done around their porch, shaping up the leftover soil from that project. And so today we went through and we dug a swale that is also the main walkway, so they can come right off the porch and come down the line. And we installed shade-tolerant nursery crops in here of a couple of varieties of honeyberry, some white currants, red currants, menage meru blackcurrant, even a yastaberry, some gooseberries. We'll make permanent labels for them, and the idea is they can have this little berry medley that they can harvest from the porch as these plants get bigger and then propagate outward. And right now we're putting the finishing touches on an incredibly loosened raised bed that we worked over with the broad fork first. I just recently invested in this Meadow Creatures, $200, USA made, really nice tool. And we're going through, Sasha did some really beautiful shaping on the walkways. So we have these permanent raised beds, really easy for foot traffic. And we'll go through and put in some herbaceous plants for them that are perennial as well. So we basically brought over the sampler pack of culinary and medicinal useful herbaceous plants. There's bronze fennel and sorrel and lovage and walking onion and ever-bearing strawberries and sage and horseradish and scallions and shallots and my oh my. So we'll go through with her and design how to lay these out in the beds shortly, and then install a thornless blackberry trellis for the kids to enjoy. 3 hours of work. It's a pretty good chunk of work for sure, doing the earth shaping and all that, but it's all planted. Like I mentioned before, we've got a whole nursery of different varieties of honeyberries, white currants, black currants, red currants, yasta. There's now an understory associated with it of a few different varieties of ever-bearing strawberries, so the ground cover will be fruit for the whole summer. And Sasha went through and put in, rather than having perennial blocks that are really solid in here, there's little patchworks of perennials. So our friends have lots of room to add in annuals like cilantro and parsley and other herbs that they may want. She put a nice northern flank of bronze fennel. Then we've got some sorrel, some walking onions, some shallots, mainly in the middle-ish, so there's easier access for annuals that are designed in later. Some sage and lavender towards the southern end where there's a little bit more sun. But lots of room. It's like a 30% filled canvas now, and everything's been mulched with the really rich manure from their sheep from this farm. So that's pretty sweet. And terraformed in a way where every time it rains, just like a swale style, the water will be able to fill in the walkway and soak into these now very, very loose, decompacted, permanent raised beds. And so that's the east side. We'll take a look at one other area. So just on the southern side of the home, we'll put in a block of thornless blackberries and a block of raspberries. Horseradish right in the middle, just as a nice plume of color, and some lovage on the corners just for some structural accent. The lovage will get 6-7 feet tall and be really aromatic and interesting. Down the road, they'll build out an actual trellis to have the thornless blackberries and the raspberries on. But for now, we just pounded in some stakes and ran some jute yarn, so they're little kids and friends can run around and not too easily bump into these young plants while they're getting established. So all very, very simple. And I'll say this, none of it pre-designed on paper. We just came with a whole bunch of plants, talked about some basic goals and desires that they had, looked at the landform, looked at the light access that we had, and then flew from there. So 3 hours of design plus installation on the fly. We got the nice start of a perennial fun garden that's really kid-friendly and should be enjoyable and accessible from slippers. She'll lay down a thick pad of wool. It's the beauty of having a sheep farm. So you can hop right off, walk on wool, and collect herbs for dinner. And we'll trade for all sorts of beautiful things that their farm produces. So Black Pearl Creamery, check them out in the description below. They got some amazing things that they do here, and really happy sheep. In fact, there they are off in the distance enjoying the pasture. Take care.